Greenfield, excuse me, and out towards Arter's Mill Estates. It's expected to move over the state line shortly after 9:15, but we are still under this tornado warning for another 14 minutes. So if you are located in this warned polygon, you need to make sure you get to the lowest point of your home that you can, or the most interior part. So a closet, a basement would really be ideal. But if you don't have either of those things, a bathroom would suffice. Just get away from windows. You want to avoid windows at all costs, and also avoid mobile homes. Being out in vehicles is not a great idea. Get to a very sturdy structure. Right now, it still is not looking like this rotation is super tight or super organized, which is a really good sign that this is relatively weak rotation. But we are still dealing with the chance for some movement in this thunderstorm. So it does look like it is rotating just slightly. Right around Mount Pleasant, you guys are in the thick of it. Union Mills, Arter's Mill Estates, and Greenfield. I'll take you back to reflectivity, and we'll zoom in a little bit. And this also includes portions of Carroll County that are still under that flash flood warning. So not only is this thunderstorm producing some rotating or having some rotation within it, it also is a big rainmaker. So it's producing a whole lot of rain over the past 24 hours. This portion of Carroll County has received over 3 inches of rain, and there's still more to come. So it looks like this cell is still traveling through Mount Pleasant right now, closer to the golf course. Union Mills is located just to the north. It looks like that cell is traveling directly in that area over towards Greenfield. You guys be on the lookout. If you do know anyone in these neighborhoods, give them a call, send them a quick text to let them know, give them a heads up to let them know that they are under a tornado warning and they need to avoid being outside. They need to take cover immediately. So this tornado warning is in effect for another 11 minutes, and it is radar indicated. So the hail size is about the size of a penny. It is less than an inch in diameter. Typically with tropical cyclones, we don't normally see very strong tornadoes producing large sized hail. These are very quick spin ups. They're very short lived, and they're usually relatively weak. Even though the core of Debbie is located to the west of us, we're still dealing with a lot of the impacts. We're actually placed on the more unsettled, unstable side of the storm system. We're placed to the east of it, which really means that we have more instability to work with. We have more what we call wind shear, and I'll show you that right now. We are dealing with some of that intense wind shear. So wind shear basically means the change of wind direction as you go upstairs in the atmosphere. So it does look like we have a lot of wind shear to go around as this line of thunderstorms pushes east, and it's located just to the north of Westminster. That's where this polygon is, and this light green color that you see right around Silver Run and to the north and even just to the south, that indicates that the shear, it's relatively weak, but it's still there. And this thunderstorm is tapping into a lot of that energy, and that's helping this cell really gain some strength. But it does look like, according to the latest radar scan, it's moving pretty quickly. I mean, right now, I'll zoom in just a little bit more. Deep Run, you guys are in the thick of it, seeing that heavier rain. Twin Lakes, Greenfield, Grand Valley Acres, Country Trails, you guys aren't seeing the heaviest rain from this cell, but you guys are still located in that warned polygon. So you need to take this very seriously. Even if you're located out towards Cherrytown, seeing some very light, steady rain this morning, do not let your guard down. If you're located on the outer edge of the polygon, you need to respect it. Still act like you are placed in that polygon. Do not let your guard down. So we're still dealing with some very weak rotation out there this morning. So this cell is still making its way to the north at about 40 miles per hour. So if you are located in north central Carroll County, you want to get to the lowest point of your home that you can, get to the most interior part of your home. Your basement is really the ideal spot. But if you don't have a basement, a closet would suffice, or even a bathroom. Just make sure you're away from windows. So we're going to look at velocity. So this will show us the motion of the thunderstorm. And once again, it is looking like it's falling apart. The rotation is not looking as well defined right now as it was a little bit earlier. And it looks like this tornado warning is still going to be in effect until 9:15, but the rotation, the center of it, is to the north of Mount Pleasant. I'll zoom in a little bit so we can get some more neighborhoods and counties to pop up. Cherrytown, this is headed right in your direction. You need to be on guard. Silver Hills, Union Mills, Grand Valley Acres, and Country Trails. So this system is moving very quickly. I've noticed a history of the thunderstorms that we've dealt with today, moving very rapidly to the north at about 40 to even 50 miles per hour. I mean, these cells are really booking it, and that's really the case with these tropical setups. But I'll zoom out just a little bit. Westminster, you guys are no longer inside of that warned polygon. So a little bit of an update. It seems like the National Weather Service is trimming back on the tornado warning as the system continues to move to the north. It's moving pretty quickly, so they're having to trim it back very, very rapidly. I'm not seeing any updates from the National Weather Service or from storm spotters nearby of any local storm damage. If you do see anything, you can feel free to send it my way, but please don't head outside to take photos. You want to make sure you are protected and the children are inside. Bring the pets indoors. Do not leave the pets outside. I cannot stress that enough. Bring them indoors. So this tornado warning is still in place for another 11 minutes. It's radar indicated, which means that this doesn't mean that a tornado is currently on the ground. It's not currently traveling that we know of. It's not confirmed yet. But we are looking at some weak rotation. So how we know it's weak is that the colors of reds and greens are not super tight knit together. They're kind of more faint, which gives us an indication that this cell is pretty weak in terms of its rotation. So the red colors indicate that winds are flowing away from the radar site, so that's otherwise known as outbound winds. The faint green color that you see on your screen right here, those are winds flowing directly towards the radar site. So we can notice that there is some rotation out there, but it's very broad. We're not looking at a very tight, what we call couplet. The brighter greens and reds, that would indicate a very strong rotation cell that we're tracking, but that's not the case. We're not tracking a very intense supercell by any means, but it's still something that we need to let you know about, and this tornado warning still remains in effect for another 5 minutes. And here's a look at the latest update from the National Weather Service. They just trimmed back the tornado warning even more. So now Mount Pleasant, you guys are pretty much in the clear, which is great news. Along with that, Greenfield, you guys are still involved in this warned polygon. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see the red box. So this blinking red box is the tornado warning. Grand Valley Acres, you guys are kind of on the line of the polygon right now. Country Trails, the same case, but Cherrytown, you guys are located in the polygon right now. So again, this is in effect for another 5 minutes. This system is moving very quickly, so they likely will expire this in the next 5 minutes because the rotation in this cell is not looking very well defined. But this cell has actually had a very good history of producing a lot of rain. So I'll zoom out a bit to show you the rainfall. It has moved so quickly that a lot of the rain is now placed in southern portions of Pennsylvania. So Grand Valley Acres, you guys are still in this polygon, but the rain is starting to lighten up a little bit for you guys. Country Trails as well. It looks like Cherrytown, not really seeing much in terms of rain. You guys are starting to deal with drier skies, which is great news for you. And I'll zoom out a little bit so we can see that this is currently the only tornado warning out there right now for our viewing area. So we currently only have one tornado warning. We do have multiple flood warnings that are currently underway. So these green boxes right here, one of which is for northern portions of Carroll, western parts of Baltimore. The majority of Carroll County is under a flash flood warning as well, and even down towards Howard County. That's in effect for until 11:30 this morning. But this, I'll zoom into the tornado warning, and it looks like it's starting to fizzle out, so I do expect them to cancel this a little bit early or even expire the warning once 9:15 rolls around. There is the rotation, if anything, it's located to the north of the state line. But just because the rotation and the core of this storm cell is to the north of us doesn't mean that you still need to let your guard down. You guys are still in a flash flood warning. For pretty much all of Carroll County, flash flood threats continue not just throughout the morning, but even into the afternoon, because we still have multiple waves of showers and storms to get throughout the day today before it's all said and done. But this tornado warning is still in place for another 3 minutes. Actually 2 minutes, I should say, and it's still radar indicated, so the rotation is super weak, which is great news. But if you do have any family or friends who live over in Grand Valley Acres or Country Trails or Cherrytown, just give them a quick heads up to let them know that they are in a tornado warning, but it does look like the bulk of the major impacts from this storm cell is located to the north of them. So they look to mostly be in the clear, but I wouldn't rule out very strong gusty winds, even on the backside of this thunderstorm. Any winds today outside of strong storms could still produce wind gusts anywhere from 30 to 40 miles per hour. So we're talking about pretty strong winds throughout the day, all associated. This is all associated with Debbie. So the remnants of Debbie still meandering to the west of us right now. But as I mentioned before, there's pretty much no rotation in this cell at this moment. A lot of it is located just to the north of Grand Valley Acres. So I do expect them to expire or even cancel this tornado warning very shortly. It's only in place for another 2 minutes. But taking a look at reflectivity, just keep in mind that some of that heavier, more moderate rain is still falling over Grand Valley Acres. And keep in mind throughout the day today, and this goes for all of central Maryland, so even though you're not in the tornado warning, keep in mind that there is still a tornado watch until 2 o'clock this afternoon for the bulk of the area, and I'll show you that right now. Here's a look at the latest alerts. So for central Maryland, that's the tornado warning right here. So for northern Carroll County, this tornado watch is in place until 2 o'clock this afternoon. So we're still going to be dealing with the impacts from Debbie throughout the rest of this morning and also into the afternoon. So once again, we will look at velocity, which shows us the motion, any rotation of this storm cell. And it does not look very promising, which is great. This is a really good thing. This is what we like to see. We don't like to see the beautiful colors of reds and greens very close-knit, kind of intertwined together, because that would indicate that we would likely have very strong rotation, strong updrafts, but it does not look to be the case this morning. And typically with tropical systems, tropical cyclones, they produce a few weak tornadoes, very short-lived, but they're still significant enough to pose a threat to life and property. So this still needs to be taken seriously. But right now we're still dealing with mostly just heavy periods of rain right around Green Valley Acres and for locations further east. It does look like folks right around Cherrytown and Greenfield, Twin Lakes, you guys are pretty much in the clear from a lot of the heavier rain that's currently falling in this warned area, which is amazing news. But don't let your guard down throughout the rest of this morning. That flash flood warning continues. It continues until 10:45 this morning. There's also another flash flood warning in place for central portions of Carroll County and for Howard County as well. So we just got word, and they just expired the